Thank you for registering, campers. Come sit by the fire and await your counselors, Michelle and Samantha. Welcome to Camp Fear.
Welcome to Can't Fear, where we review movies that are streaming for free on sites like Tubi, YouTube, Plex, Momitu, all of them. Today we are talking about the movie There Are Monsters, which is available on YouTube. It seems like it was made in 2013, but was uploaded to YouTube in 2025. So something to make note of. There will be spoilers, so please watch the movie first and then come back and hang out with us.
So the movie There Are Monsters has a crew of student filmmakers embark on a road trip when they discover odd events and people acting strangely around them. Soon they realize that sinister doppelgangers have invaded the town. So There Are Monsters. We open with friends on a road trip. They're joking around. You know, the girl is going to go in and get some ice cream, and all the guys are like, give me ice cream, give me ice cream. And so she's going to go get ice cream for the gang. Other two decide to go in. They had an issue with like their burger. it's not enough bacon on it. So they leave one of their friends behind in the car, and he notices this woman off to the side just staring off into nothing. And he's like, hello, can I help you? And then she like does this sudden turn and attacks the window. Then we cut to the beginning of their road trip, all the same friends. It seems like they are on a school assignment, and they're going to go film and interview alumni from the schools to like where they are now after their graduation. So they check in with their teacher about the documentary, and he's all like, well, why are you filming the road trip? Well, why not film the road trip? You know, I mean, that's how found footage films work. So I, just bring that realist, the behind the scenes to the forefront, because people like behind the scenes stuff. I like behind the scenes stuff. So that's their justification for it. Then they are off on their road trip. And on their road trip, they're seeing strange things like people staring off into nothing, but it's always the back of their body, or the back, their back is always to them. And they're going through this one area where there should be a guard to like lift the post. The post is already lifted, and he's just off staring at nothing. And they're like, well, just drive. I would do the same thing, honestly. So they're taking note of these really strange events. And they get to their first interview, which is a school. So you have your school teacher. One of them is getting B-roll. And he gets B-roll of one of this kid's lunches. And the kid is looking at the camera all like, like he's acting a little sus. And then in the food, in his lunchbox, it looks like brains. It looks like hair, just like things a kid's lunch wouldn't have.
Just a kid's lunch? Like an adult might have that lunch? Or...
I don't think anyone should have this lunch. So that's stuff you would put in a lunch. But, so it looked a little brainy, looked a little hairy. No, thank you. And the teacher points out the fact that this is a Chinese child. They're like, it could be a cultural lunch. Like, there could be food that we're not used to, which is totally fair. But the crew is just...
It was brains.
Oh, yeah, the crew is just like, this is not, like, that wasn't even a thought to any of them. That was my first thought. I'm like, really? You're going to do this? But then they addressed it, and I was like, oh, smart.
Okay.
So they address it, and they're like, that has nothing to do with it. This was strange no matter who has this lunch. So they're just kind of unsettled by it. Then they finish their interview. They move on. So then they go ahead and they take a break. They take a bathroom break. And the woman, I have names later in my notes. So the woman gets out, and I believe her name's Beth. And she goes into the bathroom, and so she sits down, she's peeing, she's, checking her phone. And then two other people walk into the bathroom, and it just sounds kind of funky to her. Like something's not right. So she peeks through the slot and is watching them, and they appear to be twins. And one of them is just putting on this like thick lipstick, and just, that uncomfortable, like.
It was very, if you remember the video Black Hole Sun.
Oh, it's been a long time.
Okay. If you know the video for Black Hole Sun, it's very like, yeah.
I was thinking Jason Mewes with his chapstick. Noise. So, but she's putting it on, so it's uncomfortable, and then she does this like type thing. And then, of course, Beth gasps, and then they both look and leave. But then and then Beth notices there's 2 feet standing right in front of her, or in front of her stall. And she's like, and then all's quiet, and then they leave. So she's reasonably freaked out.
Oh, yeah.
Runs out of the gas station bathroom, and then runs into an old friend. Like you do. And that I kind of found realistic, though, because I have run into friends that I was in the military with at airports, completely random times. Yeah, I was like, and she was like, and it's super fun when that happens. So I was like, okay, cool. We run into an old friend. And then her old friend is a little like spazzy, and she's got her trunk open, and it's just full of water and provisions. And so she starts asking Beth about, oh, hey, do you remember this rhyme in school, this French thing we used to make fun of? And then they were both able to recite it. And she's like, okay, cool. Stay safe, bye. And then Beth returns to her friends and is recounting, oh, I just ran into this person that we went to school with. Yada, yada, yada.
Turns out she's crazy.
Yeah, she's a little nutty now. So, but later we'll find out that, the exact opposite is true. And then this is where we started. So we're now back to the very beginning of the film where, they want Beth to go get ice cream. They go complain about their burger. And then the dude that was left behind gets like the window jump scare. Yeah, the jump scare.
Yeah.
So now they're on to their next interview, and it is a dentist office. And they have a little, in the waiting room, there's a little girl with her dad. And so they're going to film her cleaning because the dentist is, an alumni of the school. So the little girl is in the chair. Dad did not come back with her. And she's mouthing and slowly gaining the confidence to say, help me. Like, that's not my dad. I don't know who that is. Like, my family's just not right. That is not my dad. And as everyone's getting a little like, well, what should we do? And they're all kind of fighting amongst each other. Instead of like just focusing on helping this kid, dad comes in and is like, hey, you know what? This is just, we got to go. They let her leave with him. I mean, that's, as far as the dentist knows, that is their dad. Who knows what's going on? Maybe there's something going on at home, but nothing much is done about it. They let her leave with the father. And everyone's just a little freaked out. So that interview didn't really garner much. And the little girl does say that her dad is a monster. So there are monsters.
Oh, and then the cameraman also sees the dad do like a freaky smile.
Yeah, he does
thing.
that freaky smile. Yep, the camera. So he's getting his B-roll, and he's like, my dad's Amasi's not a real person. And that's what garnered the dad to be like, hey, we got to go, because one of the cameramen pans over and he gets this like big goofy like creepy smile, and he goes panics, and then I'm like, oh, it's time to go.
Yeah,
they're catching on to us. And then they're kind of just discussing all the people that are staring off and into nothing, that they just don't understand what happens. They all start calling their parents. They went to a diner to like have lunch, and they're discussing the weirdness. And then Beth is telling a story about, this man and his wife, and like, well, that's not my wife. And so just to mirror foreshadowing more what's happening. So one of the guys decides, I'm going to call my mom. And then the rest of them call their parents, and just kind of a sweet little moment of, okay, let's just check in on our families, make sure everyone's okay. They're now watching everyone with suspicion. And it was so creepy in the diner, like people just looking around, looking at them. So you can sort of get a sense as to like, who's not quite right and who's fine. So it's just looking at who notices them and who doesn't. So they end up going to a motel. And there's the 2 besties, Beth and I have his name written down later. Beth and the cute one. They have these like soccer shirts, and they had this chant that they did when they were kids because they were their own soccer team, and it's super adorable. And her mom like made them these t-shirts, and they were both wearing them. So super cute, nice little moment. And then there's a knock at their motel door after they have been to sleep.
It's like 2 a.m, something like that. Yeah.
So a woman named Lynn comes in, and I thought this woman killed her scenes. She was great.
She was great.
She was so great. Someone else cast her in more things. She was wonderful. But so she comes in and she was like, I heard you guys coming in. You were loud and boisterous. And they were like, oh, I'm so sorry. Did we bother you? She's like, no. Because I know you're people. Like, I know I can trust you and come to you. And like her husband's following her and they're worried that they're going to get wrapped up in some sort of domestic thing. And she's like, no, it's just, that's not my husband. I don't know what's going on, but this is weird. I was able to escape. And then her family comes and she's like, oh, his truck is out there. And then another knock at the door. The family's there. She doesn't want to go with them. They convince them that she's having a schizophrenic episode. Now, remember, this was shot in 2013, so a lot of the verbiage around schizophrenia has not been updated at this point. So this was still something that they were saying. So they showed the group these pills, these schizophrenia pills, and she was like, I haven't had an episode in X amount
14
of years.
years.
Yeah. Like, she's like, no, that's not what's happening. And then they let her go with them. So Lynn is now, I don't know, body snatched, whatever happens. And she was also saying you only see the back of their heads. Cause that's the one thing, the dude who was left behind in the car, who had the only one at this point who's had the front face experience with these things, is that, she's saying this, and he starts asking questions because he's like, oh, I only see the back. Why do we only see the backs of their heads? So you don't see, their faces. So you don't see their tentacles, their monsters. So you don't see the monstrous form. These things can remember like current events. But when you start probing and asking more about like deep questions, like remembering a soccer chant or remembering this rhyme from school that we used to do, these creatures can't do that. They only know surface level current information about you. So a lot more suspicion happening. They end up going to their third interview, despite the better judgment of let's just get the hell out of here and cancel it. They're like, well, it's right across the street. We've had all these weird encounters, but we're just going to go forth and conquer. Conquer they did not. So they go to their third interview and just this woman is just coughing in the background. And like we've said in other episodes, anything like pre-COVID, and I see this in public places, like gives me such anxiety watching them. I'm just like, and this woman is just coughing and you hear it in the background and it's really prevalent and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And Dan, one of the camera guys, goes off into the back, like he's going to set up the interview, make sure everything's fine. And so this coughing just gets worse and worse and worse and more intense. And the anxiety is rising in the scene. And Beth goes and checks on Dan. She sees him with the twins. So Dan might be gotten.
Might be one of them.
We don't know yet. But Beth's like, we got to get out of here. And what about Dan? What about Dan? Who gives a shit about Dan? We got to go. And then they go to leave. And and the woman who's coughing like hacks up this big like
slug thingy
membrane. It just blah. And it was disgusting. So they're like, yep, out. And then Dan's in front of them and they've got coffees. And the one guy doesn't realize that Dan was with the doppelgangers, the twins. And he's like, well, it's Dan. He brought us coffee. We talked about getting coffee. What the hell are you doing? And then they're trying to ask him questions. Like they don't let him in. So then they go disappear. And they're trying to escape these things. And you see all these people like looking at them. It's very, as they drive through neighborhoods, it's like, super creepy. Everyone's really freaked out. They go into a seemingly abandoned house. Turns out that there are a couple people sitting there and they're listening to a Learn Chinese on Tape tape. I don't know if you heard that. And I was listening to it like, that's kind of funny callback to the beginning. But like, so they're learning Mandarin. So they're talking to this old couple and a child, and they call it, the child says, this is called, it's called mitosis. And then Jeff, the cute one, the soccer guy, goes into the back and you see this dude just standing there because there's this weird sound and they just can't get it out of his head. So he's got to go check it out. Because that's what we white people do.
We do.
Have you ever caught yourself going to check something and you're like, I am way too white for this? I do all the time. I'm like, why am I checking on this weird sound?
Because white people have this notion that they're invincible.
Right? Like, absolutely not. Get your ass back in there.
I've never had to encounter any danger before, so it's... Anyway.
It's funny. So this dude's standing there, and then there are these two like children just munching on his arm, just up to his elbows, and just, it was like really wet looking and just gross.
It was
and,
weird.
Like, it felt like it would be so humid and sweaty in that room. It was just So they all scatter. Beth and Jeff stay together. The other dude runs outside, and he's out because the creatures start coming in. So they get split up. Beth and Jeff end up in this basement that is pitch black. So they're using the old 2013 flip phones, you know, when cameras were still kind of new. And there's a flash on it. So he's taking pictures to see what's there and where they can potentially walk and get out.
The 3 megapixel.
I was surprised they could zoom in on
I
things.
know.
Like, So they're taking pictures, and Beth is like, no, something's there, something's there, something's there. I see it. So he takes another one, and then the picture takes a while to load, and then bam, there's a monster in it. So then they get split up, and she's, you know, she finds a flashlight. She finds Jeff, and they find their way out. So we cut to the other dude, but Terry runs off, and he hides in a car, and so he's laying there, and then he hears something, and he peeks up, and there's this little kid in a pig mask, and he just walks right by, and so he goes back down. He's like, okay. And then pig mask kid is behind the car now, and then he's up on the top, and this freaky little scene, like when the camera goes up, and he just disappears, and it's just like, wow, it was really well done, but it's just creepy moments. And then another person is there with a horse mask, and Terry's all, come on, come and get me. I can take you both on. I'm 250 pounds. Fuck you. And then the one in the horse mask just takes the car door off.
And his look of like, oh, fuck.
Well, I'm screwed. And then Terry gets got. And then that was so funny. And then Beth, but what was even funnier is before they took the door off, they flipped to their perspective watching him, and he's freaking out in the car, and you can't hear the words, like you can't hear his bluster. And
it just looks like he's having an episode in there.
So funny. His little tantrum. But yeah, and then so he's gone. And then we cut to Beth and what did I say his name is? Beth and it's not Dan. What's the other guy's name? Jeff. Beth and Jeff are in another car, and she's, you know, happy. It's just the two of us. We've been best friends since we were kids. I love you so much. Oh my gosh. And then she starts talking about the soccer team. Like, you remember? Do the chant. Please do the chant. And she killed it in that scene. Like, she was so good. And please do the chant. And he can't. And then he got, and she got him or her. So, and then we cut to the ending where the friend that Beth ran into in the beginning, still human. She's sitting on a bus, public transit, just kind of has a little stress toy, you know, and I don't know, probably one of her kids' toys or something, but I'm presuming. But yeah, so she's got a little stress toy that she's kind of, you know. And then we run into, Beth gets on the bus, and she's like, oh, there's Beth, there's my friend. But she still has to be cautious, but she kind of throws caution to the wind and gets closer to her. And
well, then the friend asks Beth to recite their little French poem, and Beth can't do it.
Yep.
And so then the woman looks all around the bus, and everyone on the bus, there's like probably like 5 or 10 people on the bus, including the bus driver, and they're all staring at her because they are monsters as well. And so basically her number is up.
Yep. All because she wanted to say hi to a friend. See, this is why you don't say hi to people. I literally thought that. I was like, see, this is why I don't have friends. Go in.
Yeah.
But I'm like, ooh, yeah. So
you have to be someone special for me to like walk across the room and say hi to you.
So yeah, but she gets her ticket punched in the end, and the monsters, I think, won.
I think the monsters
Won
win.
the day.
Yeah. Yeah. So I considered this Blair Witch meets Smile before
Oh.
Smile came out, because this
Yeah.
came out in 2013. It does jump between found footage and not found footage, which can kind of take you out of the moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't really bother me that much as long as I know it going in, but the found footage and the non-found footage filming look exactly the same.
It did, and that
So
threw me a little bit, like in the bathroom scene.
yeah, I was
When-
like, who's filming her?
I literally wrote that down. Who's even filming this part?
And that's when I realized, oh, okay,
Mhm.
there's regular shots in here. The first jump scare within the first 5 minutes got me good.
Did it?
Oh, it got me so good. I think that they did a lot with the budget that they
Mhm.
had. Great story.
Mhm.
And for me, it's worth a watch if you were looking for a found footage Smile
Yeah.
replacement.
I was super impressed with the movie. Like I hadn't watched many full-length YouTube movies. Not really until I started working with you and our friends and your team, and I was like, oh, cool. It's just a whole another world of movies out there, and I was really impressed with how well this was done. It was paced pretty well.
Mhm.
I mean, sure, there's always some parts you can tighten up a little,
Oh,
but
yeah.
like that's true with billion-dollar blockbusters,
Mhm.
But I was really impressed. I really liked this movie.
Yeah.
I was just so into it.
Mhm. How many toasty marshmallows do you give it?
I think for me, this is a solid 4 toasty marshmallows.
Okay.
Movie.
That's funny. I was teetering between 3 and 4 toasty
Mhm.
marshmallows. So I'll go 3.5 toasty marshmallows, but I'll tick it up to 4. I'll round up. So yeah, 3.5 toasty marshmallows for me. And it was a lot of fun. I liked
Yeah,
it.
I did too.
Yeah, they did a great job. Well, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.